One of the biggest issues stopping athletes from being able to sprint faster is the lack of an effective stretch shortening cycle. The good news is, with just 10 minutes per day, you can do a routine that builds your elastic strength that's going to help you jump higher, sprint faster, and handle more forces during your sport. And in this video, I'm going to take you through a simple 10-minute routine that builds spring and elastic strength you need for speed. This routine has helped me go from struggling to sprint faster to running legit sprint times and helping hundreds of athletes transform their speed with our online program, the Speed Academy. Let's get started. For the first exercise, we're going to start with bouncing side to side, focusing on landing on the ball of your foot, keeping the toes pointed up to help us achieve something called dorsiflexion. While you're bouncing, you do not want the heels to touch the ground. You want to focus on jumping sub-maximal, which means we're not going to be trying to pogo for as much height as possible. We're trying to spring from the ankle primarily without trying to go for height, but keeping the ground contact time fast. An important side note is do not let the knee bend too much or you're going to feel it in your quads and your glutes. Perform this exercise for 30 to 60 seconds. If this is too easy, then we want to go up by 15 to 30 seconds every couple weeks, since you should be feeling a burn in the calves so hard that you're pushing very close to failure. This is going to be great if you do it barefoot or in socks, not in your shoes. Being outside of your shoes will make sure you get the most out of your fascia and your Achilles tendon, which is going to be the key for this pogo series. Now, this is the first step of the extensive pogo series, and it sets you up for the next exercise because without it, you're going to be missing some key aspects that build your spring. For the second exercise, we're going to be doing split stance hops. First, you're going to be springing from the ankle in your socks or barefoot, and you're going to be bouncing off the ball of your foot with your toes pointed up so you can stay in dorsiflexion the entire time. Now, you don't want your back knee to fall too far behind or too close. Then you want to switch the feet forward and backwards, but you're not letting the heel collapse when you're doing these pogos. Land in the back half of the ball of your foot and keep the toes pointed up the entire time, and then do this for 30 to 60 seconds. And the same rules apply if you need to bring it up in time because it's too easy. We want to be making sure that we're pushing close to failure. Notice how in the split stance position, it helps you load the Achilles tendon when the foot is behind the hip, which is what we want in powerful acceleration and max velocity. It's also where we see the most Achilles tears in sports like football and basketball. Now we're going to bring even more spring to your legs with this last exercise of this pogo series. This one is just straight up sub-max pogos. Focus on keeping your toes up, a tall posture, bouncing off the ball of your foot without the heels collapsing, and don't use your quads or glutes too much. If you do, that means you're probably jumping too high. Keep it sub-maximal and springy solely from the ankle in the Achilles tendon. And remember, do this for 30 to 60 seconds. At some point, we're going to be building this all the way up to 3 minutes. I like this series because we're reforming the fascia in the feet and building something called elastic strength in your Achilles tendon. With this, you're going to be able to store and release elastic energy better, which is the fundamental of sprint speed, because we know that the stretch shortening cycle is a differentiator between average sprinters and elite sprinters or athletes. And if you want this plyometric series and other plyometric exercises programmed for you by me to transform your sprint speed like the athletes you see on the screen right now, click the top link in the description to join the Speed Academy today to get your speed plus strength transformation program. Now, all you do is work on your fascia and your Achilles stretch shortening cycle. You're going to be missing some big rocks for your sprint speed and your spring. You need to be doing this next series, which is focusing on your leg stiffness. And leg stiffness might be the most critical factor that athletes aren't training that will help them sprint faster. For the fourth exercise, get into a split stance position. Then you want to keep the feet in this position that you see on the screen. Rotate the back leg out and then turn it out again to get a big split in the thighs. That way, in the bottom position, the back knee should be pointing straight down under the hip or slightly behind the hip backwards. And when we're doing this exercise, we don't want any pressure on the back leg. This is just going to be our base of support. Now, the front knee should be placed where once you're in the bottom position, we have the knee right above the toe. We don't want it all the way backwards, and we don't want it well past the toe unless you're trying to focus on more patella tendon loading to improve its health and strength. You want to make sure that you're maintaining something called a neutral pelvis. So push your lower back down and in, and then you're going to exhale a lot and you're going to squeeze your glutes and tuck them under, and you'll get a neutral pelvis that way. The second step is going to be slowly dropping into a 90-degree position. Keep your chest upright and your shoulders back and stacked above your hips. you should be having a straight line all the way from the head all the way down to your hips. If you lean forward, this is going to be more glute dominant and going to take less stress off the knees. So just know that if that's the goal that you want. But for now, we want an upright chest. The third step is going to be screwing both feet into the ground. Apply pressure into the front foot arch by lifting the toes up slightly and drilling the heel outwards. Now gradually work to 90 degrees. If it's too painful at first, then you want to start with shorter knee angles. Then you eventually want to build up to go body weight. And over time, add load where you can hold light dumbbells for longer durations. For our reps and sets, we want to be doing anywhere from 2 to 3 sets of 30 to 60 seconds and eventually build up to 2 to 5 minutes at one point. Now, this exercise is strengthening your quads and your glutes in the exact position we're going to be sprinting from. This can be amazing for developing something called intermuscular stiffness, which plays a huge role in improving your leg stiffness for sprinting. This is also great because it improves co-activation of the right muscles at the right time and helps remove compensations in your sprint mechanics. Now, with this exercise alone, you have the first half of the leg stiffness series, but without the second half, you might be having some huge missing links that you need to address to improve your sprint speed. For the fifth exercise, we're going to be doing my favorite exercises to target the adductors and abductors. Step 1, we're going to be doing a groin iso plank. So use a bench and set up at a 90-degree angle in a side plank position. Your working leg is going to be the leg on the bench at 90 degrees. Keep the elbow underneath the shoulder and wrist firmly pressed into the ground. Then pull yourself up using your groin. Hold this for 30 to 60 seconds and make sure you're using a bit of hip flexion since that targets different aspects of your groin that's going to help with acceleration sprinting. The second step is going to be your glute med hinge side bridge. Stay in the side plank in a 90-degree position, but make sure you're hinged at the hips by pulling your butt slightly back. Make sure your elbows is stacked with your shoulders, but not too far in or too far back or too far outwards. Put your knees together and stack them, but stay hinged at the hips. Push yourself up with the side of your glute moving towards hip extension. And then when you're moving downwards, you want to move backwards into a hinge. Don't start in full hip extension, which is a common mistake. Do anywhere from 2 to 3 sets of 6 to 12 reps and make sure you're adding load over time. Strong glute med helps with hip external rotation, which is important when the foot touches the ground for force production. And your groin improves your hip internal rotation, which is important for better hip extension and more powerful toe off, which is all key for sprinting speed. These movement-based exercises are key for helping my athletes you see on the screen sprint faster. If you want personal coaching from me to get a technique analysis and 100% custom programs, click the link in the description to sign up for personal coaching today. Finally, we finish with the ankle joint, your last point of contact with the ground, which needs a high amount of tendon tolerance to allow you to store and release elastic energy effectively. Step 1, set up on something elevated like a plate. Step 2, raise both legs into a calf raise as high as possible and make sure your legs stay straight and that you push from the ball of the foot. Step 3, lift one leg off the ground, maintaining the calf raise, and don't be afraid to use wall assistance since our goal is to not train stability with this exercise. Step 4, keep a tall posture and hold for 45 to 60 seconds, maintaining all the pressure in the calves, not the glutes or quads. Now, I want you to do 2 to 3 sets per leg of 45 to 60 seconds. This is the entire routine, which you can do every day with the example reps and sets you see on your screen. This routine has helped me jump higher, sprint faster, and it's also helped hundreds of my athletes do what you see on the screen here. If you want these type of exercises programmed for you to increase your sprint speed, strength, and overall explosiveness, click the top link in the description to join the Speed Academy today to get your speed transformation program. Now, these type of exercises are great for something called low intensity recovery days. But if you're not doing the right type of training on your max intense sprint sessions, then none of this matters. So watch this video right here on how to train correctly for pure sprint speed.